Hello students and welcome to this teaching module on producer's behavior. What we will be specifically dealing with in this particular module is the law of variable proportions, which studies the response of output to a change in the variable factor. Let us see what this is all about. So stay with me.
So let's begin. Before we move on to study about the first law that we're going to consider today, I want you to imagine something. Let us consider that we have before us a workplace, probably an industrial unit or a factory setup, and the following is being used. Two machines, which is the fixed factor. Let us consider that in this industrial unit or factory, we have two machines, which is considered to be our fixed factor. And the period time frame that we are dealing with is the short run. And we know that a short run is a time frame wherein all factors cannot be changed in the same proportion. It is too short a time to do that. But we can bring about changes in a variable factor. In this example, we have two machines. And the variable factor we will be dealing with is the unskilled labor. So here we go. Suppose we have two machines and the factor proportion here is 2:1. So we have one laborer and he contributes to the production process and brings about a production of 3 units. So the total product or output that he contributes is 3 units. Suppose two unskilled laborers are used in the process of production. Together, they produce 7 units. Now another laborer is added to this entire activity, and together the three of them, they bring about a total product of 12 units. Still, we need to step up production, so the employer brings about another unskilled labor, and together the four of them bring about a total product of 16 units. Still, the producer wants to produce some more in the short period, so he employs another unskilled labor, and together the five of them end up producing a total product of 19 units. The employer feels he should add one more unit of the variable factor, so he brings one more unskilled labor and makes it 6 unskilled laborers, and they produce together 19 units in that time period. He thinks of bringing another laborer to see if he can increase or step up production in any way. But then he finds in the next period when he uses 7 of them, they together produce 17 units. So it is seen that the total product, all the data that we collected in our example, is put in a tabular form. So you see we have the fixed factor in the first column, which remains constant throughout, that is the two machines that we considered. And then in the second column, you have the unskilled laborers, the number of unskilled laborers, which is our variable factor in this example. We see that the factor proportion between the fixed and variable factors goes on increasing or changing. Let us see what happens. When two machines are combined with one unskilled laborer, the total product derived is 3 units. When two machines are combined with 2 laborers, the total product they produce together is 7 units. When 3 laborers are used in the process of production along with 2 machines, together they produce 12 units of the output. When 4 units of variable factor are employed, together they produce 16 units. So the total product is 16 at this level. When another unskilled laborer is employed and added to the process of production, they produce 19 units of the product. When another laborer is added to the group of 5, they seem to produce a total product of 19 units. Then again, the employer adds yet another unskilled laborer to the process of production, and together the 7 of them produce 17 units. So you see, when towards the end, it is seen that productivity actually declines. So let us study this further. We have here another column which is marginal product, and then a fourth column which is average product. How do we derive and fill up the values in the marginal product column. Well, what is marginal product? It is the addition to the total product by use of an additional unit of the variable factor. So you see, when 1 unit of a variable factor is employed, the total product increases by 3 units. So that increase is shown here. That addition is shown here as 3. So 3 minus 0 is 3. When another unit of the variable factor is employed, the total product increases from 3 to 7. So what is the addition? 7 minus 3, which is 4. So the addition to the total product by employing one more unit of the variable factor, that is the second one, is 4 units. When yet another laborer is employed, the total product again increases from 7 to 12. What is the change? The change is 5. And how do we know that? 12 minus 7. That is total product at the third unit of the variable factor minus total product at the second unit of the variable factor. And so in this way we go on. So 16 minus 12 is 4. So 4 is the addition to the total product after 4 laborers are employed. 19 minus 16 is 3. That means total product at the fifth unit of the variable factor minus total product at the fourth unit of the variable factor is 3. Then we go on to the use of the sixth unit of the variable factor. The total product at that level is 19. We minus that with the total product when 5 laborers were employed, and we get 0 because 19 minus 19 is 0. That means there is basically no addition to the total product. Then further, when the 7th laborer, unskilled laborer, is added, we see that total product actually declines from 19 to 17. So total product at the 7th unit of the variable factor minus total product at the 6th unit of the variable factor is negative 2. 17 minus 19, and we take the sign of the bigger number, which is 19 in this case. Then we move on to the average product. What average product actually tells us is what is the product per unit of the variable factor. So we have this guy, the first laborer. He produces a total product of 3. So his average is 3. So one laborer per laborer at this point produces 3 units. Then we see in the second case, when 2 laborers are employed, they together produce 7 units of the total product, right? So 7 divided by 2 is 3.5. So that means, so that tells us that each laborer from this 2 produce or contribute to 3.5 units of the product. Then again we can see per laborer in this group of 3, how much do they produce on the average? So how do we find that out? 12 divided by 3, which is 4. And then we go on in the same way. 16 divided by 4 is 4, which means each of the 4 laborers contributes to production of 4 units. Then we go on. 19 divided by 5 is 3.8. That means each of the 5 produce 3.8 units of the product. And then 19 divided by 6 is 3.16. And 17 divided by 7 is 2.42, which tells us that each of the 7 contributes in this way, that is 2.42. What we have just studied in the example that we considered and the table can be generalized in the form of a law. So let us state the law. As the proportion of one of the factors in the combination of factors increases, first the marginal and then the overall product will diminish. This is called the law of variable proportions. Why? Because by using every additional unit of the variable factor, the factor proportion between fixed and variable factor changes. After we considered the state, let us now state the assumptions. The first assumption is technology is assumed to be given and constant. The second assumption, the ratio in which the factors of production are combined can be changed. That is what we saw in the example that we took. The third assumption, all units of the variable factor are equally efficient. Having stated the assumption, we studied this table earlier, but now when we're going to look at it, we're going to look at it from the point of view of the statement of the law of variable proportions, which is, as the proportion of one of the factors in a combination of factors increases, first the marginal and then the total product must or will diminish. So let us see if what the law says is true. Now look here. When the third unit of the variable factor is employed, the marginal product or the addition to the total product is 5 units. But then, when the fourth unit of the variable factor is employed, the marginal product falls from 5 to 4. So who fell first? Did the total product fall first or the marginal product? Yes, it is the marginal product that falls first from 5 to 4. And then later on, at the sixth unit of the variable factor, we see that the total product falls from 19 to 17 when the seventh unit of the variable factor is employed. So we see the marginal product diminishes first, and then at the sixth unit, and then when the seventh unit of the variable factor is employed, the total product falls. So yes, the statement of the law is true. As the proportion of one of the factors in a combination of factors increases, first the marginal product. Let us study this law with the help of a neat labeled diagram, as is always asked of us, right? So here we have the total product, marginal product and average product plotted on the y-axis. So don't forget that. The total product, marginal product and average product are plotted on the y-axis, and on the x-axis we have the units of the variable factor. So as we employed one unit of the variable factor and then another and then another, and it went on to the seventh unskilled laborer. So the number of laborers would be here in that order in which they were employed. We see here happening in this law, there are 3 stages that production goes through in the short run. The first stage is called the stage of increasing returns. In the second stage, it's called diminishing returns. And the third stage is the stage of negative returns. When we plot the points of the diagram, that is the units of the variable factor versus the total product or the total output, we plot these points which we see here. And when these points are joined, what we derive is the total product curve or the TP curve. Alright? Then we plot the points, that is the variable factor versus the marginal product. So those 2 columns are considered. And when we plot the points and join them, what we get is the marginal product curve. And when the second column in our table is plotted, the second column is the units of the variable factor. When that is plotted against the values of average product, which we see in the last column of the table, and we join those points, what we derive is the average product curve. So you see 3 curves drawn here, and that is why we have all the 3 plotted on the y-axis. And the 3 curves that we have drawn here together is the total product curve, the marginal product curve, and the average product curve. Now what happens in these stages? Let's see. The first stage starts when 0 units of the variable factor are employed up to the point where marginal product, can you see the high point of the marginal product? Up to the point where the marginal product is at its highest. That is the end of the first stage. Because throughout this stage, total product is increasing at an increasing rate. The second stage starts from the point where marginal product is at its highest and ends where marginal product is 0. Can you see where the green curve, marginal product curve, is intersecting the x-axis? That means the value of the marginal product is 0 at that level or that point. So this stage ends where marginal product is 0. And throughout this stage, total product is increasing at an decreasing rate. And that is why we call this stage the stage of diminishing returns, because total product is increasing at a decreasing rate. The third stage starts when marginal product is zero and continues to the end of that process till the last unit of the variable factor is employed. And what do we see here in the third stage? The marginal product becomes negative, because we saw in the table 17 minus 19 is negative 2. So that negative 2 is plotted here. And so this part is the negative part of the marginal product curve. So when marginal product becomes negative, when total product starts decreasing, actually starts decreasing from 19 to 17, that is what is plotted here. That time the marginal product becomes negative, and so it's called the stage of negative returns. So you see, you divide your graph into three parts. The first part up to the stage where marginal product is at its maximum. The second stage ends when marginal product is zero. Let us now explain the stages of the law of variable proportions. Here we have the first stage, that is the stage of increasing returns. In this stage, the total product increases at an increasing rate up to the point where MP or marginal product is at its highest. That is what we saw in the diagram, right? Throughout the stage, marginal product is greater than average product, so that the MP curve cuts the AP curve at its maximum point. Can you see what has happened, what we just explained in the first stage? Throughout the stage, marginal product is greater than average product. You can see the green line or the green curve is the marginal product curve, and the one shown in red is the average product. Can you see? Throughout this stage, the marginal product is greater than the average product, and the marginal product in the next stage cuts the average product curve from above. Moving on to the second stage, that is the stage of diminishing returns. In this stage, the total product increases but at a decreasing rate, with the result that both average and marginal product decline. This stage starts from the point where MP is at its highest and continues to the point where MP equals to 0. At the end of the stage, total product is at its maximum and AP is greater than MP. As well as, let us study the second stage again with the help of the diagram. We just read that in the second stage, both average product and marginal product start declining, because total product is increasing at a decreasing rate. And you can see here the marginal product curve cuts the average product curve from above. And later on, the average product is greater than the marginal product. And at the end of the stage, you can see here marginal product. Let's move on to the third stage, which is the stage of negative returns. In this stage, the stage starts from the point where total product is at its highest point and MP is 0. During this stage, total product decreases and marginal product becomes negative. This is because after a certain period, the production process becomes too crowded with the variable input, and factor proportions become less suitable for production. So you saw in the example, when the seventh unskilled laborer was added to the process of production, what happened? The production process was too crowded with that variable input, and therefore the factor proportions become less suitable for production. Does a producer ever want that his output should decline the more laborers he employs? No. So there is a certain point that he would have to stop employing unskilled.
So today, students, we have learned about the law of variable proportions. I hope you've understood the concepts clearly. Thank you for giving me a listening ear.